Alrighty, welcome back to a new video. This one is, I guess, more of a history lesson to you people out there on the cassette, to collectors starting to get into it, and also, which are the best. And I guess we should start with simple. So, I have to go over my tapes, because I got so many of them. I got hundreds. I have about 500 now. Alright, let's go to a low quality tape. This is about average. See, this is a brown particle tape. This is my first cassette. And thing about cassettes are they're magnetic particle tapes. Right off a head, which can also magnetize, and that's why head cleaners also sometimes advertise that they demagnetize them. They have a little seam between them where you have both sides, and depending on the tape, the quality can vary. Even the particles are big, like color particles. Black particle is more the high end, and then brown particle's low end. So this is about average. It's got a little darker-ish brown, not a light brown. And that means that the sound, dependent on your wear on the tape, isn't all too bad. So as you can hear, the sound does vary on these cassettes. Tape slack. And then there's the higher end ones. This is Skid Row Slave to the Grind. This, I believe, was possibly CRO2 recorded from the factory, but as you can see, it's got black particles, meaning it's got a lower hiss in the background and better quality. Here's it with Dolby. And Dolby C. So as you can see, it always does vary. The highest ends of cassettes that I've ever seen are translucent, which would ironically be this cassette. Is the tape is so thin it's actually see-through in the right lighting. I mean, but it's also very silky. This got this silky, beautiful, silky high-end particles. But there is one way that quality lowers on a cassette. So the longer the tape, the more thin the particles are. So you see how this is a 60-minute cassette. Rewound, it's got a decent amount of tape on the spindles. And this is a 110-minute cassette. And I have some 120s here and there. No, it doesn't have a 120 in its case. Nope, it's Gemini. Here's a 110. This is a pretty high-end tape, too. I have too many cassettes for my own good. Alright, I don't know where my 120s are. They're somewhere in there. But, particles very much differ on the tape. Actually, this is probably a light brown particle cassette. This one's busted. This is a bad tape. It's an old tape and the glue failed on it. But as you can see, it's got like the brown particles. AC/DC, this is a pretty cheap tape. Particle-wise, at least. So, the highest ends I've run, my daily driver tapes, I just got a couple of these Maxell capsule UDX Type 2s with high CRO2. As you can see, they are very, very, very dark brown to a little bit into the black category of particles. Recording over them, there's not really much background music depending on your erase head. And for this deck, it has a nice erase head. There are the TDK SAT 100s. These are pretty common nowadays, surprisingly. I kind of feel like dumb waiting like for years to get my hands on these, being a collector and all. But also at the same time, I don't have a handful of the iconics. I don't have the TPSL2, I don't have the WM10, the D5M. But I got the first Walkman, the TV10, and some other rare stereos. This is very, very, very dark brown. These tapes are pretty common nowadays. A lot of people out there are using them for recording. This one is a high CRO2 Type 2. And doesn't really have much info otherwise. This probably got 70. I believe EQ Plus. Then I got a bunch of these UD2 oval window series. These oval windows very much can differ on quality. So these particular oval windows, it's got dark brown particles. These particular ones, I haven't had a chance to use one of these particular ones yet, but this should be good. My camera sucks focus-wise. There we go. That's the only downside, is it's not a 120 type. But they're pretty good, and they seem to get the job done. A lot of people will say your best bets for starter tapes, which I would half agree overall, are these Maxilla UR90s. If you are to be a starter in collecting and getting tapes, these are very nice, but ones I have seen to find more often for free, if anything, are Memorex DBS 90s and DBS 60s. A little bit lower quality, but they do have the old full lifetime warranty, which you might be able to cheat, and they got 120. Probably can't even see that because of the yellow. But yeah, so these tapes have proven pretty good. My first real mixtape that I made off of this was actually one of those Memorex DBS 90s. And I do have a handful of Maxells, but I run more into the higher end territory. I got X Capital, XL 290s, and stuff like that. My first super duper cool mixtape that I ever made, the highest quality tape for my time, was the Mega Tape. This was my school mix for a long time, going on the bus and to school and back, but my Jensen Walkman, because remakes seem to hate my cassettes. So I like old ones, because auto stop actually works. It ate my tape pretty badly. Still works, though, nonetheless. I won't go in the rack. There's probably what's in here. There we go. But yeah, so that tape's pretty good. That's a silky type tape. And then factory issued tapes can also vary. Here's an overall average. It's got some darker brown. And then there are some black particle, like heavy metal cassettes and stuff, like my Lynch Mob tapes and stuff. My just standard Lynch Mob tape is got black particle, Skid Row, Rush, A Show of Hands. I've seen it for a handful of tapes with the black particles, but they're more expensive and hard to come by. And as for micro cassette, these do vary for sure. There's not really black particle micro cassette. It's more into the brown particle at the point of being Seaver, because the tape's thinner. On the Sony 91s, I've seen that they're Seaver particles pretty much. They're that thin. I was impressed by there's probably battery still in that player, but these ones, this got some pretty good quality tape for the time. And as for 8-tracks, there's not really a black particle either that I've seen yet. It's always this particle tone pretty much, or a lighter brown. And then wear marks, you can always tell on a tape. Once they wear out over time. My most worn tape, I want to say, there we go, Kiss Alive 2. It's not even in there. This might be, I don't know where I put the other Kiss album. I think it's probably on my stack. But I have Kiss Alive. Oh, here we go. Here's Kiss Alive 2. This is just as one. These are from my grandpa's briefcases that he gave me of tapes. And these are probably my most worn. Got that pasty tone, as you can see. That's how worn they are. But they still play. They haven't been eaten yet. So I've been pretty impressed by them. And so a lot of times stuff like that can come in. And if you ever want to make your own blank tapes for cheap, you put tape over your tab holes, and then you're able to record over them. And so you could just get an album of some sort, or an old audiobook tape, and put tape over the tab. If I was to recommend any tapes to start with, for sure the Maxells and the Memorexes, but I'd actually stand more by the Memorexes, even though they're a tad lower, particle-wise. They're not as high-end, but they're still actually, in my opinion, they've proven themselves really good. They hold up better, in my opinion. They don't get eaten as easily. As for into the higher-end territory, these XL2s, like the pros use, they have proven for what I've been using them, they've been pretty good. Wouldn't say they're amazing, but they have definitely proven good. I have a Type 5 cassette that's similar to this design that's proven pretty good. And then these TDK 110s are good for about one use, but otherwise there's still background noise from the old recording. So it's kind of meh, but still could be good with the right tapes, I guess. There's a Sax 90. This was my grandpa's old tape. This has got silky black particles, and it's a very nice, high-quality tape overall. So yeah, tapes always vary depending, and also where you're at. I'd recommend more into the Memrexes to start, and if you're getting into high-end, I'd get into the Denons and these. I love the high-end Maxells and TDKs. And then, if you want a cool reel tape, I don't have any good ones. This is a Tascam Studio Master 424. This is supposedly a Type 2 tape, but it has the quality of a Type 1 cassette overall. It's black particle, but it's crappy black particle. It was the cheapest reel tape I could find because TAC ones are $200. And it's like $400 for the open cassette, open tape reel cassette thingy that they made, which was really cool. You could pull the reels out. And that's what I'm after, is one of the biggies on my list of stuff I've been on the hunt for. But this tape is proven alright. It's been a little test tape here and there. And then, here's one of my most favorite tapes. It's the Road Trip Mix. I made this forever ago for my road trip, for a road trip out to Kentucky, and it's proven to be one of my best mixtapes in my collection. And it's a Maxell, it's proven good, but, you know, I still wouldn't stand by it being the best quality. I think the Memorex has held that end. So yeah, once more, it depends on your tape. VHS-wise, I guess the Sonys are alright, but to each their own. I haven't really gotten deep into VHS recording yet. As you can see, I have a couple blank tapes, but I don't really do much with that. E-track-wise, I've never recorded on an E-track tape yet, because I don't have a recorder deck for my stack. But cassette-wise, got briefcases, racks, and racks. And so I've had enough experience with them. And for sure, there are good ones and there's bad ones. One thing you will notice about the 70s to early 80s type tapes like Pyromania and Def Leppard and Aerosmith and stuff, or AC/DC, is they have a lower dB measure on them overall, and they got like a lower sound, like noise reduction almost, but not the same, you know? And that's because of the era that the tape recorders were built in, if I'm correct. And that would have been to accurately go with their sound quality of the time. So if you have an old like 70s or like this late 60s player, these earlier design tapes are best with the lighter brown particles, because the black particles work just as well, but there's just cramming a lot of high-end stuff into it. And what's cool about some high-end cassettes is you could actually make them like if you record them properly in Dolby and everything, you could eliminate the hiss in the background. You can basically get a YouTube video quality out of a cassette. I've seen it before. A few of my tapes are like that, and it's really impressive. One thing I don't like about Dolby, though, and this is why I don't record much in Dolby, is because it doesn't really get the guitar as well. Kind of fades it out intermediately. It's weird. And I don't like that about Dolby. But having the option for BCN or HX Pro is pretty nice. And as for playback machines, if you want, my starter unit for double cassette was this unit here. Still going to this day. I put belts on it when the belt snapped. And it's right now, the CD works, it's all original, except the belts on the tape. But, you know, it's proven itself good for the years I've ran it, and I still make mixtapes with it, but the erase head isn't the highest of end. So yeah, it's got good sound, the Mega Bass is awesome, the V-band rotary equalizer's meh, I don't like the V-band, or the rotary style. But, you know, it's proven good, and now I'm running this unit. I used to use that, then I used that for years, and then when I got my hands on this one with the electronic heads, I started making mixtapes off this because I like the electronic heads and the Dyna amp system. And then when I got this, at this point, I haven't used the double deck on this in a little while. This one I do sometimes, but the flutter is still a little off, because the belts are kind of, they're new belts, but they have to be broken in a little better. And then that unit I do use here and there still to make mixtapes because it's proven really good quality wise. So if you're to get into cassettes, and for sure I'd recommend it because they've proven better than CDs for me, is for sure start with Memrexes, like the DBSs, and then work into the high-end Maxells and TDKs. And then obviously check, like, my trick is ask around just people you know, because that's how I've gotten a lot of my tapes, is because they have surprisingly some stupidly high-end tapes that they're just gonna throw away because they didn't know they were of any value. I've gotten a few tapes worth upwards of like $100. It's crazy. So yeah, I guess that's the end of this video because I only have 16 minutes of record time and it's 15 minutes in. And I'll see you in the next one.